This episode includes discussions related to suicide and mental health struggles. Listener discretion is advised. If you or someone you know is struggling, please consider reaching out to a mental health professional or calling a helpline in your area. If you are in Canada or the United States and you're in crisis or worried about someone who is, you can text or call 988 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for bilingual, trauma informed, and culturally appropriate suicide prevention support. Remember, you are not alone and help is available.
Welcome to Bioenergetics Beat. My name is Miriam, and I'm a team member here at We Are NIKKI. Today's episode is brought to you by NIKKI, the wellness technology that you wear. Thank you for tuning in, and stay until the very end for a special giveaway you won't want to miss. Today, I'm joined by David Butler, a fierce Lyme warrior and advocate. Welcome to the podcast, David.
Hi, everyone. How are you? Hi, Miriam.
Hi. Okay, David, tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Okay. So I started my chronic illness journey at age 10. I went to 10 doctors. My first doctor told my mom right in front of me as I sat on the table, it's all in his head. He needs a psychiatrist. The 11th doctor said, I know what you have. And he drew some blood. And when I came back the following time, he says, you have HLA-B27 gene, which is spondylitis and Reiter syndrome. And at age 10, I was sent on my way for a life of pain meds to deal with the pain in my body. At that time, I had hypoglycemia, I had swollen knees, I had all the symptoms of Lyme disease, but they never checked me. And this is back in 1990. I'm 43 years old now. In my teens, it became very psychological issues. I had severe depression, couldn't get out of bed, suicidal ideations daily, anxiety, OCD, mood swings, severe mood swings. At 25, because of all that psychological issues, in a 15-minute analysis, they figured, well, he's got bipolar disorder, and sent me on my way to not only pain meds, but a lifetime of psych meds now. The psych meds helped, basically just masked it. And then at 31, between the psychological and the physical pains, I just couldn't take it anymore, and I attempted suicide on my 31st birthday. Coming out of that was a big realization that I had to change my mind. There's a whole story behind that. But they changed my psych meds. They said, oh, your psych meds aren't working. Changed my psych meds. And within that next 6 months, I started on my journey for being diagnosed with Parkinsonian syndrome. And I started with MS symptoms. They couldn't figure it out. They couldn't diagnose me with MS, even though I had all the symptoms. I even had brain lesions on my MRI. I started working on my physical self. I was very overweight at the time, not mentally really stable. So I really started working on my mental and physical health. I was going to the gym a lot. I did a Tough Mudder. And then we had our son at 38. I was given a vaccine and told that I would not be able to see my son if in the room. So I took the vaccine, even though I'm not anti-vax, but somebody who has HLA-B27 and all the problems I have, I stayed away from vaccines. Unfortunately, it did cause some injury, and I got a vaccine card after that. At 41, it was 1 month, almost to the day of my 41st birthday, I got COVID. When I got COVID, I started on my ALS symptom journey. I say ALS symptom because I was never really diagnosed with it. 18 months of going to different doctors. I went to over 24 doctors. I was put on over 4 dozen different medicines. I lost, in total, up to date, I've lost 38 pounds of muscle. I had well over 4 dozen different symptoms, severe symptoms. It's hard to talk. Like it's
You know what? It's
emotional.
very emotional. Everyone's Lyme journey is very emotional. And I'm glad you're still here, David. And I'm glad our paths have crossed. I'm glad you're part of our NIKKI little, we call it like a little family. And um, it's a hard journey. And one of the things that I really love about you is you're taking your trials, your tribulations, and you're turning them into something so positive. And your journey that you're going through and the story that you're sharing is very impactful. And the fact that you're willing to share it with strangers and on your Facebook page, I think it's a beautiful thing. And that's why I'm so excited to talk to you today, is because you have gone through the pits of hell and the pits of like dealing with Lyme disease. And, when you were just sharing your story about, you're 10 years old and it's, you're told it's all in your head. Gaslighting wasn't a thing back then. And, help for mental health also was not a thing back then. And I'm just so happy that you are here and you are taking something that is very hard in your life and really trying to help others. And that's beautiful. And thank you so much for sharing that with us. And what we can do is we'll go into some other questions because that was a very, very heavy. So, but I just really want to acknowledge the fact, like, thank you so much for sharing that. I know it's emotional. Even Janice and I are very emotional just listening.
Thanks.
So let's talk a little bit about, you are dealing with a lot with your Lyme disease, and you've been given a lot of bad news, but you're also somebody that, for what I've known you, and I've only known you for a short amount of time, has really turned something very negative into positive. And like, I have Crohn's disease, and one of my things that I always like to say is I have Crohn's disease, but it does not have me. And I feel you're somebody that, you have Lyme, but it does not have you, and you refuse to give Lyme that time of day. So what are some of the things that you have done from your journey that you're using to help others?
So just piggybacking on what you just said, a very, very important thing for everybody out there is, one of the biggest things I learned is, all those years that I had bipolar, I always said, I'm bipolar. And I was always stopped by people who were on a higher frequency, and they would say, no, you're not bipolar, you're David. And it's very impactful what you said, because you have to realize you aren't what your disease is or whatever you are dealing with. You are not that. You are your own person.
Yes.
You are dealing with these issues.
Yes.
So I guess I'm going to go back a little bit, if it's okay. First birthday, when I attempted suicide, after that, I was very closed off to it. I was very ashamed, I had family members say, don't talk about this, it's too hard on people. And I understand it's hard. So I never held any grudge or anything. But on my 32nd birthday, I had been a full year at that point of no suicidal thoughts. And I had spent 16 years with suicidal thoughts. So I was like, I want to post this on Facebook, give people inspiration, but I know it's going to hurt a lot of people. And I went against what everybody else told me to do, and I posted on my birthday how proud I was of myself. For the first time, I never said good things about myself, or just don't talk about them. And that's what is crushing the world, is we just die with these secrets in us, where God gives us this brain and this information that we could pass on to future generations. And we can keep growing and growing and growing, but we're not.
One of the things too, David, that I think I really appreciate about you is, when we grew up, because we're very similar in age, suicide was not talked about. Neither was mental illness. And, even though you put yourself out there, it's uncomfortable. All you need to make a difference is in one person's life. And if you've made a difference in one person's life, that's what matters. Is the 80 others, or the thousands others that are rude or whatever, to that one person that hears and see hopes, then it's all worth it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So within that decade, I just constantly, I would put it out there, and I wasn't ashamed of it anymore. And we helped so many people throughout that decade. And then I started having, when my son was born, he was about a year old, I found psychotherapy, totally different than regular therapy. I love it. It's getting the actual physical emotions out rather than just talking.
Oh, yeah.
And I've been doing that for almost 5 years.
Yeah, like our trauma, like, it holds in. It's in your cells. It's in everything and you don't realize it. Absolutely.
So once my chronic illness started, that was a tough journey for me. I even became very, very depressed again. Me and my wife started fighting because I was just so depressed. I had these doctors saying I had ALS possibly and stuff, and I was going to neurologists and they had no idea. And then finally, February of 2023, I went to my neurologist and I had my first EMG, which is for people who don't know, is a nerve conduction test, which tells if you have a motor neuron disease. I went back for my second appointment after getting it done. And he was literally scratching his head. He's like, I don't know. I've never really seen this. He said, you don't have ALS. You don't have a motor neuron disease. He says, but yes, you are dying. He says, at the rate I'm watching you, you are dying of ALS type disease. He says, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. He says, come back in 6 months. Let's see how you're doing. So I went home that night and I was very defeated. At that point, I had a 4-year-old son, and I'm getting shaky right now just thinking about it. Like my wife and I tried for 12 years for him, and I was going to leave him. I just kept picturing being in a wheelchair in the living room the following year. So I went home, and all these years I had loved singing. My wife was the only person that ever heard me sing. Maybe a couple other stragglers here and there, and she always said you should sing in front of people. And I said, you know what? I got nothing else to lose. So I sung my first song on Facebook and I published it. And it got a lot of good reviews, which was very heartwarming to me, but also like, wow, I spent all these years closed off. And I could have, made a difference with all these different things, all my different talents I have. I have a lot of different talents, but I always kept them secret. It's February of 2023. June of 2023, I got a tick bite. I live in New Jersey. We're in the hot spot for Lyme. And I started getting a red spot around. It wasn't a bullseye, but it was a red spot. I said, I'm not wasting it. At this point, I had my second round of EBV or mono.
Yeah.
And plus all the Lyme symptoms. At the point, I didn't know it was Lyme. And I went to the doctor and he says, I'm just going to put you right on Doxy. And a couple of days later, somebody said, did you ever see a Lyme literate doctor? And I said, no, I never even heard of it. Went to my Lyme literate doctor and I said to him, after the whole thing, I said, what do you think? He goes, what do I think? He goes, I'm not only going to bet my diploma that you have Lyme. He says, I'm going to guarantee you've had it at least since age 10. He says, you might have even had it since birth.
NIKKI plus Lyme is the next generation of Wave 1 technology referred to in this testimonial.
With the Wave device, have you been able to get back to yoga?
I have, yes. Not even just teaching, but like my own practice. That was I remember so clearly. I went to a class last year and I wasn't even able to do like a basic pose because my body was in so much pain. And that's not something I've ever experienced before. I'm sorry, I'm getting like really emotional thinking about this. But it is really hard to have things that like you almost take for granted in your daily life and then suddenly to just completely lose the ability to have those things anymore. So it almost in a way is like there are silver linings to everything, and that is a silver lining, is just like being grateful for so many of the basic things that we often don't even give a second thought to. So short answer, yes.
NIKKI puts a personal wellness center in your hands and on your wrist. Be better. Do better. We are NIKKI.com.
Hi, my name's Stephen Davis, founder and developer of NIKKI, a personal frequency delivery system. This wearable is designed to deliver frequencies into the body to speed recovery from Lyme disease. Our Lyme suite of frequencies are the newest version of our Lyme recovery program. Thousands of Lyme sufferers, which include my family, use the Lyme daily to overcome Lyme disease. Today, I'm proud to announce a new suite of Lyme frequency sets that are going to be focused on co-infections. NIKKI is loaded with Lyme Daily, which deals with the Lyme disease, plus 9 additional frequency sets designed to address your worst co-infection symptoms. Those frequency sets include bacteria and virus, detox, emotional balance, gut health, histamine, mold and fungal, Lyme sleep, pain, and stress. And we know that those are going to be well received from people with Lyme disease. We are passionate about speeding your recovery from Lyme disease. It's a terrible disease that no one should have to live with. Once you have used your Lyme Daily, then choose from the 9 frequency sets designed to offer relief from your most persistent symptoms. The key is to stick with it. Don't frequency hop until you've used the Lyme Daily. Best practice is use the other frequency sets for a minimum of 2 hours before switching to another. This is giving the frequency sets time to bring your body into balance. Good balance means good health.
Tell us a little bit about your Facebook page and what you're doing now.
Real quickly, I'm just going to feed off of this. So after I got diagnosed CDC qualified, actually. And he started me on my journey. Now, between 5 years of psychotherapy, well, 4 years at that point of psychotherapy, and properly treating the Lyme, within 4 months, I was completely off 17 or 18 years of psych meds. My Parkinsonian syndrome was completely gone. I couldn't even eat soup. No, not exaggerating. My hands were like this. And my hands are almost complete. I'm a little shaky just from this podcast, but I mean, and then my ALS completely stopped. And then my MS almost completely stopped. Moving forward, December is when I started singing again on Facebook, because I was like, you know what, I did good. Let me try it again. Let's see what people think. And I had a lot of people like, hey, nice job, blah, blah, blah. But I realized that I could use my singing to get my message out. So it draws people in, and then I could tell my story. My story, not meaning just Lyme, my story of every single thing that happened in my life. Infertility treatments with my wife, suicide, depression, childhood trauma, bullying in school, Lyme disease, undiagnosed, with the gaslighting, literally everything. Because everybody in the world is dealing with something, so it reaches somebody.
Absolutely.
And then it was around April-ish, my son got scarlet fever and I got sick again. And that's when my ALS and my MS came back really bad. I also started really opening my mind up and listening to God and listening to my intuition, and things really started changing. I opened up my Facebook page. I went from 300 friends to now I'm up to almost 2,200 followers. I'm singing a couple songs a week to get message out. One of my biggest thing is promoting people who help me. So I like to promote NIKKI. I like to promote different businesses and people who have helped me along the way. That's my big thing. You got to help each other. It takes a village.
It does take that. One of the things I love about your page is it's a very safe space. People can share, and you don't put up with bullying or any of that. But what I love about your page is the honesty. You flat out say, if this doesn't work, I am not going to promote you. And you have this it's very genuine. I think I saw a post and you were like, look, if I don't like it, I'm not going to talk about it. Or I'm going to tell you what I like and what I don't like about it. And a lot of the time is you are there for the people that have walked in your shoes. You are not there to be like, I'm going to recommend this because I benefit. I'm going to do this because I benefit. That is not who you are, and that is not what your page is about. And I love going to your page, and there was one the other day, and you share a lot with your son, Little Bear, and I love seeing that little guy when he comes across my feed, because you share your life with us, and you share you share the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's not all sunshine and flowers on your page like a lot of other influencers are. Your page is real, and you share when you are not having a good day, and you share when you're having a bad day. And I think that's what's really nice about it, is you're creating this really genuine community of support and a very safe space for people that are having a hard time finding a space this day and age. Like, some people can't leave their house to go to a support group, but your page is not just Lyme. It's not just other illnesses. It is, if you're struggling, let's sing a song. And I love your songs. Like, we obviously have the same taste in music, but it was like, and sometimes it's not about the song. Like the other day, you did a song, I think it was one of the ones with the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and you you made a post and you're just kind of like, you know what, think about something that you're grateful for. And, just letting those people take like that 3 minutes to think about something we're grateful for, because life is busy and we forget to take that time to be grateful for something. And so, I love that about your Facebook page. And we're going to include the link to David's Facebook page in our show notes. And I would encourage you to follow David on his Facebook.
Like I said, I just started really listening to my intuition, God, whatever you want to call it. I'm a very non-judgmental person, as you already know. With my page, I don't promote any politics because I don't follow politics. I don't, I don't judge people or races or sexuality or anything like that. I judge a person by who they are. If they treat an animal and a person right, and they're kind to me and my family and other people, you're good to me. That's how I judge a person. I don't care what color. I don't care anything. It doesn't matter. I'm probably forgetting a lot of things. So right around that time, opening up my thing, I heard my intuition and I said, all right, now it's time to open up a website. So I started this website all on my own. I don't have a lot of money, so I'm doing almost everything on my own. I've had a couple people help me along the way with different things, but I opened up a website. I own two websites. One is Lyme Disease Warriors, and then the other one, which is active, is silenced with a D, silencedwarrior.com or .org. I also own .com, so .com will go to .org. It is a website. It's called Breaking the Chains of Silence, and it's finding the voice for the voiceless. And on my posts, I always tell people to find your voice and never give up. Finding your voice doesn't mean learn how to sing. Finding your voice means find who you are in the world. Make an impact. Tell your story. Help other people. That's finding your voice. So that's what my website is based off of. And then the following month, I also heard another voice. Now it's time. You're going to go to school and you're going to learn something new. I had been painting cars for 29 years and I was like very scared, but I was like, all right, what do I have to lose? I found this great school in Manhattan, Institute for Integrational Nutrition, and I'm going for their health coaching program, which I just got my first certificate, certified health coach, functional health coach. And then I have another couple months until I get my final diploma. And then from there, I want to continue on and learn and learn and learn. I want to get as far as I can to being able to help people as much as I can. I want to learn. The thing that really interests me the most isn't chronic illness. It's mental health. Mental health.
Well, they go hand in hand.
So, yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. That's a major subject. So, and then the following month, I started contacting a couple of different organizations, and I got hooked up with Noah. He's a great guy, director for Project Lyme in Manhattan, and they had a mothers meetup or something. It was a mothers group for mothers who have Lyme or have children who have Lyme or have given, because you can pass your Lyme down to your child. And I contacted him with a couple different ideas, but I'm like, I think you really need a men's group, because men are indoctrinated in the world to be a man. Don't be a girl. That doesn't make any sense. We're human. Pushing emotions down, whether you're a guy or a girl, is the worst possible thing you can do.
Absolutely.
I don't care. It doesn't matter if you're the toughest, strongest man in the world. You're gonna break if you push those emotions down enough. It's like a pressure cooker, just keeps building and building and building. And so this men's meetup that we have through Project Lyme is it's a safe place. That's a perfect word. It's a safe place for guys to come, and if they're struggling with Lyme or if they have a family member, and they can cry, they can scream. We've helped anybody. It's a safe place to just be a human and not be a man for a minute. Just be a human being.
I think a lot of men have suffered in silence, and I think this men group is so great. We are going to get the link from David. We'll include that in the show notes as well. If you know somebody who is struggling that could benefit from that, please share that information with that person. And how long have you, so you went to New York for Project Lyme for something. What was that?
Their gala. And just to be in that room with the people that were in there, I mean, Richard Horowitz and Bill Roll, I mean, it was just an amazing experience. It was like going to something you would see like Cinderella kind of thing.
Yeah.
For me and my wife, who are like country people, you know, that was like a huge, huge deal. And it was also a big deal
To the
because
city.
exactly. And
Yeah.
for me and my wife, who we don't have a lot of support in our life. So we've only been on 2 dates prior to that. Since our son is born, he's 5.
Yeah.
We've only been on 2 dates. That was our 3rd date. So it was like, yes.
And you know, you're in a room with people that know, you know, you are with like people, and literally it was the who is who of the Lyme community, which was so exciting that you were given that opportunity. And you know, all the battles, and I'm sure there's times where you second guess yourself, and just know what you're doing really matters, David. And I know there's days where you probably feel it doesn't, but everything that you do matters. And so what we're
Being in that room uh, was
gratitude.
I'm just thinking about it. I'm speechless. I spent 3 decades of my life being gaslit by even my own family members. And I'm not making fun of my wife, even my wife, because you can't see it. Like that, somebody said perfectly on Facebook, it's like having poor vision or being blind almost, and not having glasses, and people just telling you, just, you know, try to see better, you know, just work harder. 3 decades of that. And I literally thought it was in my head, you know, you're mental, you know, like just work harder, work harder, work harder, work hard, which actually made me worse working harder all these years.
Of
But
course.
being in that room at that very moment and realizing every single person in that room, even my wife at that point, because she's actually seen and been to my doctor's appointments, every person in that room didn't not only understand what I'm going through, most of them were going through it. So you say, I'm feeling this. Oh, I know, I'm right there with you, man. It
Yeah.
was so surreal. And when the first person started crying, talking, I literally just burst out crying because it was just very amazing.
For you, I'm sure it was very emotional because you've been gaslit for 30 plus years that it's all in your head. And now you're in this room with everyone who has either walked the same path you have, and they have become doctors, they have written books, they are going through it, and there's hope. Like, I see some hope. Like, I would have been very emotional as well, like even just following along, because you and your wife, you brought everyone on Facebook with you. You don't take anything for granted, and that's what I love about you as well. So a couple months ago, our paths crossed, and you were given an opportunity to try the NIKKI with the Lyme program. Tell me a little bit about that.
I was just like you. I was skeptical, but I had a couple people who said it worked for them. So I was like, I got nothing to lose. And at that point, I think we crossed paths around June. So it hasn't really been that long.
Okay,
But
yeah, I can remember.
so it was around April when my MS and my ALS started coming back. So I was kind of desperate, and I was like, I got to try some other different stuff. I ended up getting one for myself and my wife. She got the wellness one, and I got the Lyme one. It's a very it's very hard to put into words. It's very powerful. It's I don't I'm probably not I can't even give it justice. Like
What I love is you're like, I feel like crap and it's great. And I'm like, what?
so I think if I remember correctly, I was using all of them at once.
Sure.
So I was using the bacteria, I was using the detox, I was using and I was getting so sick. And I'm like, all right, well, maybe I'm having a herx. And I contacted you. You're like, no, just use the Lyme for a while. Just leave it be. And I'm like, so I was going through, it was a major, major herx. So it was phenomenally working. But you're like, no, that's not how this is supposed to work. You know, cut it back, do it the right way. And you gave me the correct instructions. And from there, everything fell into place very well. Went through July, used it the whole entire month, and I used the Lyme every single day. Early August, I started using different ones here and there. Mostly what I would use was bacteria, detox, and inflammation.
Mhm.
It was right around August 15th or so. I went to my Lyme doctor and we had a follow up. And I was starting to get pretty sick at that point. So he says, let's switch you to Doxy. You know, let's try some Doxy for a little while. Let's try different things. He goes, I'm not sure what's going on. It was probably August 20 to 25th range, 10 days later, roughly, I was in full on Herx. I was in full on, there was a couple nights I kissed my wife goodnight and I literally said to her, good night, I love you.
Oh my
And that
God.
was my way of saying, I am so sick right now. I don't know if I can get up tomorrow. I don't know if I will make it through the night. So I had another visit with my Lyme doctor, like immediately, like, what is going on? And he directly associates, not in a bad way. It sounds bad, but it's not. You have to understand when you hear my story, I've had Lyme, Bartonella, and God only knows what else that's not showing in my blood work, but I've had Lyme in me for over 3 decades. You don't just get rid of that. That's deep in all of my cells. That's deep within my brain. So he directly associates me using the bacteria, especially because Bartonella is a bacteria, with using the bacteria mode. It actually pulled the Bartonella out of my cells. And by the next time that I took my Lyme test, it showed Bartonella. After a year of getting monthly checks every single month, it never showed Bartonella. That's how deep it was in my system. And NIKKI pulled it out. NIKKI legitimately pulled, and this is from my Lyme doctor, who's been doing this again for 40 years. He
Yeah.
says, I'm very impressed. He's one of the people who tells all his patients about this.
Yeah.
He is very impressed. And he actually told me to back off of the NIKKI for a couple of days just to like get my body to rest. Like he says, that thing is strong, very strong.
Yeah.
We it's so hard to talk about it because it's so incredible. To me, it's incredible that after 30 years and being really sick, I was showing 5 bands, CDC qualifying for Lyme, but nothing else. But I was still having these neurological symptoms. They were still kind of there. And then in April, they came back out, but they were still not showing up on my blood work. After using NIKKI for 1.5 months, it pulled the Bartonella out. So when people ask me, I say, I'm scared to death because Bartonella is very, very scary. But on the same respect, I'm ready. I'm ready to heal.
Yes. Yes.
So that was late August. That from late August to late September, I was struggling pretty bad. I was using the NIKKI Watch more. I was using detox at this point because I had to detox because as you're killing, the biofilms are building up inside you. So you got to use the detox. I was using inflammation every day. Every single day I was using. Inflammation is amazing. I have not, since what you said, and I'm not lying, since using this watch and using inflammation, I have not taken any pain meds. I'm talking Tylenol, Advil, anything. One time I did. One time in the past, what 4 months now? One time. Inflammation. I love inflammation. It's so unbelievably great.
Like the key to the Lyme program, like you've been wearing it, like not quite 3 months yet, or maybe you have, can't quite remember, but it takes a lot of time. Like you're trying to unravel 30 years of Lyme. It doesn't happen overnight. And a lot of people, I think it's like they get it. They all of a sudden they're giving this, like, you got the Lyme, you got bacteria, you got molds, you got this, like, there's all these great programs that they start wearing it all the time. And then they're like, why do I feel horrible? And it's like, because you're frequency hopping, like, so focus on one. And we do find everyone's journey is very different. And there's somebody that we've worked with that was very similar to you. And then she was like, at 6 months, it was like the switch flipped and everything was like, she's like, I haven't felt this way since I was like in my 20s. And so
Going on 2 things what you just said. A couple times I've taken my watch off to take a shower or whatever. I'll put it down and I'll come downstairs or something and I forget about it for like 40 minutes or something. And then when oh my God, where's my watch? Like I panic, like I need my watch on now.
yes.
It's like a part of me. It's literally a part of me.
Yeah.
And the other thing is I know people who, unfortunately, I mean, even Bartonella is very, very powerful and very strong. And just treating just the Bartonella alone since mid-August, I mean, I'm sitting here, I just literally last night, this is only 3 months, just literally last night, I said to my wife, I'm like, I have no pain in my legs. I don't know what that feels like to not have pain. Like my entire, since I was 10 years old, I've had massive pain in my legs and I have no pain anymore. So it's like something is working. And I legitimately say NIKKI is a huge part of that pie chart of getting this to the point where in just 3 months, my Bartonella is significantly better. I wish I could, maybe this is the best way to say it. I'm speechless. Like it's some of the things are just speechless. So like my wife has the wellness one, and I'm going to pull up her thing real quick. She couldn't be here today, obviously, but I said, do you have some things you want to talk about? And
She had really awesome feedback. So we love
she
you,
said,
Butler, when you see this.
so she loves energy, morning, immune. And we've actually used immune on my son when he was sick and it helped him. And sleep. My wife at night, she will literally say, okay, I'm going to go to bed in 10 minutes. And she clicks on her sleep. And 10 minutes later, it's like she's like drunk. She's like, good night.
That's awesome.
The Lyme sleep doesn't do that for me. I might just because my sleep is so messed up. But the sleep one for her, man, it really knocks her out.
The Lyme sleep is very comprehensive. So it makes sense why you really may not be able to wear that because you are dealing a lot with the Lyme one. And so what I usually will tell people is I can't wear the sleep ones. They will wire me for sound. I will be up all night, but I do sleep with the stress and anxiety or the pain programs. And those will like calm my system down enough that I can actually get some sleep. But where can our listeners find you, David?
Let's see, you can find me at silencewarrior.org, or you're going to put the link up for my Facebook. You can contact me there. I'll put up some links on there for NIKKI.
So David, what's with those cute little bears behind you?
So one of our great friends, Brenda Sterling,
on a future podcast.
She is absolutely amazing, a Lyme warrior to the max, and I love her. She's part of our family now. She was misdiagnosed with MS, and now she is dealing with the Lyme, and she's doing as good as she can. She's doing a good job, and so she makes these bears.
For our followers in Canada, she is an amazing advocate for anyone who's going through Lyme here in Canada.
So she actually made this one for me. This is Bart, for Bartonella bear.
So
he's got the Nova Scotia flag today, and my son has Willie, as Willie Bergdorfer.
Thank you for joining us. David's information is going to be in all the show notes. Also visit wearenikki.com to enter to win your own NIKKI Wellness Technology along with the Wellness Suite, valued at $598 USD. Thank you, and thank you, David.
So exciting. We have October's winners. Miss Janet Fox, Diana T, Bonnie Etheridge, and Chris Fawcett. Congratulations, you win a NIKKI frequency generating device along with the Wellness Suite of healing frequencies valued at $597. So again, congratulations to the October winners.
Every year, a walk in the woods turns into a nightmare for hundreds of thousands bitten by a tick and made victims of Lyme disease. An insect the size of a sesame seed puts life on hold with chronic pain, fatigue, fever, and brain fog. Living with Lyme is hard. Getting it diagnosed can be just as hard. Even doctors might say it's all in your head. The search for a proper diagnosis can be long, frustrating, and expensive. Lyme can mean financial ruin. Relationships suffer at home and at work. Even after diagnosis, recovery from Lyme can be far off. Lyme defies traditional medicine. More and more Lyme victims are turning to bioenergetics to get their lives back. Approaches that use the body's natural ability to heal and consider not just the body, but family history, mind, spirit, community, culture, and the environment. Bioenergetics takes healing to a cellular level. For victims who've waited so long for recovery, holistic medicine, functional medicine, and frequency delivery bring new hope. Our bodies are made up of billions of cells that communicate using frequencies. The idea of using frequencies to restore cellular function disrupted by Lyme is based on century-old science captured in a wearable device the size of a watch. NIKKI's a wearable frequency delivery system designed to repair and optimize cellular function to speed recovery from Lyme. Doctors and owners are finding NIKKI an effective complement to a personal Lyme recovery regimen. As warming Earth creates perfect conditions for ticks to thrive in, winning the fight against Lyme is becoming more urgent. The good news is that bioenergetic science is waging the battle against Lyme with new ideas and new products, including the NIKKI Personal Frequency Delivery System. WeAreNikki.com.
For someone thinking of purchasing a device, what advice would you give them?
Do it. Just do it. It's I really have explored so many ways between essential oils. I mean, much of what the speakers said tonight, it's been my journey through the years. This is by far the quickest, the most painless. It's just really, for me, it was a synchronistic meeting, and I ended up being blessed with the device. So I feel that, universe is saying, we want you around for a while.
NIKKI puts a personal wellness center in your hands and on your wrist. Be better, do better. WeAreNikki.com. The views, information, and opinions expressed in this content are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of Freemedica. Freemedica Technologies, Inc. and its employees are not responsible, nor verifies accuracy any of the information contained in the following content. The primary purpose of this content is to educate and inform. This content does not constitute medical or other professional advice or services.